So the format of this, there's two parts, I guess. There's the expat and then the entrepreneur. So generally we'll just start with yourself and, you know, your sort of your life towards becoming an expat, and then, you know, your life as a businessman, you know, how you start businesses and where that's going as well. So up to you how far back in time you start that story from.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're welcome to, you know, explain sort of where you grew up, how that was, and how that sort of allowed your path to end up where it is, if you like. You're from London originally?
Yeah, Roehampton. I was born. So you want to hear how I got out here first? Yeah, like what the traveling bit is, and then the business.
I mean, I would even go further than that. It's sort of like, you know, how you ended up. So you went to a circus school, I understand, which is
I'll
very
give you the whole
unconventional.
I'll give you the whole background.
Yeah, it's
I'll
interesting.
I'll start back when I was born.
Yeah,
I will go back to 4, but I'll do it very quickly for you. Don't worry.
Cool.
And then at day camp, this happened.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need the hyper detail, but I have to say some of the things in your past are very unusual. So we'll I'm certainly interested in how you end up in half the things that you've done. So it must be some critical moments, I guess, that got you there.
Yeah, cool.
So Roehampton, that's not too far from me. I'm from Twickenham, so
yeah. Well, I know. Yeah, oh, gosh, I know Twickenham really well. So we moved out to Sunbury. Yeah, we were Roehampton. Then we were in my dad's job was Mortlake or Barnes, so we were in Mortlake. Then we moved out to Sunbury. So yeah, friends in Twickenham, Richmond, all that. I love that area. It's lovely.
Same. Yeah, that's the end goal, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, we've been looking actually places in Richmond at the moment, and it's just gorgeous there.
Yeah,
love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah,
really
and
really is.
I'm familiar with Bishop Wand, which is where you went to school.
Are you?
Yes.
How are you familiar with that?
We used to play them at rugby, so I think they used to beat us quite significantly at rugby. We were only a small school, but yeah, familiar with
school. What school were you at?
It's called St James Independent School. It was in Twickenham. It's now in Ashford, so moved out a little bit. The building is a massive upgrade. I don't know if you remember a girls' school called St David's. So
next to Abbotsford or Ashford High, and then St David's, and well, I used to do gymnastics there. That was like one of my original places. Yeah.
They've now bought that, so that's their new premise. So the building's an upgrade, but they're not in Twickenham anymore.
It's a big piece of land, isn't it? Yeah. But Twickenham on rugby days is just so much fun.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
That's so much fun. So.
That's where I ran my first bar, actually. So that was an interesting experience.
Brilliant.
Cool. So you grew up around that area, and then what went from there? How did you end up going into? So you did gymnastics as a young guy.
Yeah, brought up in Roehampton, moved to Mortlake with dad's job, moved to Sunbury, and then went to my first gymnastics club at the age of 4 with mum taking me and my brother. So I was 4, my brother was 2 years older than me, 6. Mum did gymnastics when she was a kid, so she had it was a thing I think she wanted us to try out when we were kids. And we went to gymnastics in Ashford at Spelthorne Gymnastics Club, which was at Ashford High School next to St David's.
Right.
And we went there for our first gymnastics class. Absolutely loved it. I mean, I can have memories still back to that age, when I was 4. It's like, right, remember it was great. So me and my brother were doing gym. Mum got quite involved at gymnastics, and she started coaching. So we were then down in the gym like once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. So mum got really involved, and we got involved as kids, and absolutely loved it, and just progressed through to competition level from the age of like 6. Started doing competitions. Brother went on to do other sports and what have you. We were living in Sunbury, so it was like right next door to Ashford. Getting into the club, and then developed through the gymnastics and competed for the southeast of England. In my teens, moved clubs to a club better suited for men's 6-piece artistic gymnastics, because back in the day when I did it, you had to do all 6 pieces of apparatus, so you couldn't just choose like you can now. So 6 pieces of apparatus. Competed for the southeast, was southeast champion for 4 or 5 years on the trot. So competed at the national finals and progressed with my gymnastics up until about the age of 19. During that time, there was a couple of guys that came down to our gym club. I was now at Woking Gymnastics Club, which is a great club, still is a great club. A couple of stunt guys came down to the gym who were working on Judge Dredd, the movie with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
That's the one at Shepperton Studios, right next door to Sunbury. And I was just looking at these guys. I think I was like 13 or 14, and I just, wow, they're really cool. They were in just training, keeping fit, keeping active while they were filming. Got chatting with them, and they were like, "Hey, you know, you'd be a good stunt man." I mean, anyone in the gym at that sort of a national level would have probably been a good stunt man because it's a good background for stunts. So it sparked this interest in me of, okay, this could be something I might sort of consider going into. So. Yeah, long story short, I guess with that side of it, I went on to a circus school. So I went to college and had an attempt at doing A levels, and that was Strode's College in Egham. I'm completely not an academic. Failed maths, failed English, failed all the academic stuff. Went to Bishop One School in Sunbury, had a terrible time. Which has probably sparked a lot of the things I'm doing now in business. It's just, I think everyone says this about, you know, school is very character building, the good, bad, and the ugly. And yeah, it wasn't academic. So I actually ended up going to a circus school in Old Street in London. And it was I did a diploma in performing arts and circus. Mum found an advert in a newspaper for first year diploma in performing arts and circus, this course that they'd created or invented in partnership with, it was with a local college that they sort of partnered with to create this course. So academic course, but it was at a circus school, which was the first sort of circus school in London inside at Hoxton Square, inside the old power station. So big high ceilings, trapezes, high wires, like a kid's playground. And
that's awesome.
Absolutely great. You know, eyes wide open going in there. And I got to play on all these apparatus of trapezes, learn to juggle and throw fire around, teeter boards and Russian swing. So I was literally doing fun stuff most of my days. There was some boring bits to it, like as boring for me because I wasn't academic, but to learn about the history of circus and various bits that I've probably sort of blocked out, but we got to perform because as a kid I was also doing a bit of performing. So I was on an agency. I did a bit of theatre, did some TV commercials and TV stuff as a kid. Mum used to take me into London on the tube. We'd go to audition after audition after audition, and did a bit of acting, a bit of performing. I was on stage singing. And using my gymnastics with like acrobatics on stage as a kid. So I was into it. It was fun. I was enjoying it. And we went to circus school. It was a 2-year course. And during the mornings before I'd go to college, I'd be off actually training to become a stuntman, because you had to, and you still do if you want to join the British Stunt Register, you have to train in certain sports. So I had to train in 10-meter highboard diving, trampolining to a certain level. My gymnastics was classed as a qualification with the level I competed at. I did fencing. There was a swimming and scuba diving qualification. I did rock climbing as well. So you had to get these sports to a pretty high standard, almost a regional standard in most. And you had to get your acting card, your British equity card, and you had to have about 60 days in front of camera to prove that you could perform, you could act, it was quite a tough challenge. Lots of people fail at it because it's tough. I had the background of gymnastics and performing, so it was helpful. So in my mornings, I'd be off at like 5 a.m. doing highboard diving. I had a little motorbike at the time. I'd like from Sunbury to Crystal Palace highboard diving, then Crystal Palace to Old Street for circus school, and then in the evenings I'd be down at my gym club in Woking. I was keeping everything going. And then I trained for the stunt register while I was at college. It took me about sort of 8 to 12 months to get all these different qualifications, and the hardest bit for me was getting these days in front of the camera or days in a show that you had to present to get your equity card. So during my summer holidays, I was off doing pantomimes with an acrobatic troupe, and then summer holidays was stunt show time. So did a stunt show in Belgium for 3 months through my holidays, and then I'd be coming back on the Eurostar circus school weekend stunt show back, just to pack it all in so I could get my qualifications, carry on with my circus school stuff, which I completed. Probably the first bit of academic I ever completed. So got my certificate. Woo. And yeah, so that was my background. And then at the age of 21, I joined the British TV Film and Stunt Register as one of the youngest stunt guys in the UK, and started working on TV shows and movies, which I'm going to tell you a bit more about. But at the same time, I also set up, I'd become a qualified gymnastics coach. From about the age of 14 in the gym, I was always in early, assisting my coaches and helping with the younger groups. So I went through the qualification system and got my coaching qualifications, and I pursued that. I went on to sit on the Surrey and the South East committees for gymnastics as the competition organizer, and contributed to the sport from quite an early age. And at the age of 21, in 1998, I set up my first little gymnastics club back at one of my schools, in my primary school in Sunbury at Kennington Manor School. Set up a little club, and back then it literally was, I had no computer and no knowledge of marketing or anything. I was just a gymnastics coach. I'm going to set up a little club, and I was just putting flyers through doors, and people were sending me bags of cash to go and coach their kids, and that's how Flair Gymnastics started back in 1998. A lot more sophisticated now with our marketing.
Yeah, of course.
But back then, that was how we started a business. It was like, right, or how I thought you started a business. So I had that running, and I was off doing shows and TV and movie work, and I had to learn very early on to delegate and to build a small team. So I was literally bringing mates in that were coaches, and creating a syllabus and some systems and processes for them to run the academy when I wasn't there, and when I was off doing stuff. So things really grow really organically, because I was in the stunt game for about 17 years.
Wow.
So I haven't done any stunts for maybe 6 years now, when I sort of retired from from that crazy life. But yeah, I went on to work on some
I've seen the repertoire. Yeah, it's and there's some really interesting ones in there as well, from movies which I've really liked, which maybe a lot of people don't really remember so well. The 28 Days Later zombie movies, that was great.
Danny Boyle classic.
Yeah, and also there was another Danny Boyle movie, right, which is
Sunshine.
Maybe
28 Weeks Later.
Something with T. I remember it's very unusual. I remember walking out the cinema and just thinking, I don't know how I feel about that, but it was.
Was it Trainspotting? His first.
It's very similar to that. I'll have to look. It's a Trance. That was it.
Trance. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an interesting movie to work on. Trance. Yeah.
That was bizarre, but like one of those ones where I still remember it, even though I don't think it was particularly well acclaimed at the time or whatever. But it's going to certainly, live on for what it was. But yeah, so that was one of my questions actually, which you kind of covered, is like the process once you decide, okay, I'm going to be a stuntman. I didn't realize there was any sort of requirements. I thought it was just, you just got to be crazy enough to just say, all right, run me over or whatever. So there's actually a massive process that you have to go through, which is quite difficult.
Yeah, it's good and bad. It's good that there's some process in place. Where the UK is more, I can't call it regulated, but there is a process to go through before they'll let you do stuff. But equally, it pulls a lot of talent out of the equation, because the qualifications have come very sanitized over the years with these sports, where you get these very polished sports people becoming stunt people. Whereas back in the day, before all these qualifications, you would get all sorts of shapes and sizes and people coming in to do stunt work. You need to be physically and mentally fit to do stunts. It's a challenging game. The film industry is punishing hugely long days, and it's a machine. and you're very disposable. It's a machine. There's lots of people that want to do it. So it does become a networking game. Once you've got these qualifications and there is this framework to get on, you've then got to be a marketer. And that's where a lot of talented stunt guys actually fail, because they don't know how to market themselves. Their communication skills might not be up there, and they don't get on in the game. The ones that get on in the game are the ones that actually can communicate and market and put themselves forward for jobs, because you're only as good as your last piece of work. You've got to look after your health physically and mentally, and you've got to be physically top of your game. Injuries can happen. But yeah, if any stunt guy says that they're not scared, they're either stupid or lying. It's like, it's a scary feat. You're standing up at 100 foot and you've got to jump onto an airbag when someone calls action. And by the way, you're on fire and you've got a mask over that, you can only limited vision, and you've got to go backwards. And they throw these curveballs in at you. And there's lots of rehearsals on movies. You get a lot of rehearsal time. Television's very different. It's very in and out. I did a stack of TV. It was my favorite type of stunt work because it was very quick. The movie process is hugely slow, but fortunate enough to have worked with Danny on 28 days later. I did 28 weeks later, Trance. Phenomenal director. I actually read for a part of one of the soldiers on that 28 days later. I remember the character, but got cast as one of the infected zombies, as you call them, and got to do some stunt work on there. Went on to work on movies including Harry Potter, worked on the Game of Thrones, Sherlock Holmes, Gulliver's Travels, like lots of the big names with big movies with the big stars in them. But the process is the same, whether it's a sort of small movie or a big movie. You're working as a team. Teamwork's really important. Communication and trust have got to be there with the team, and you've got to be fit and healthy and able to get up at 4 a.m. and finish at midnight, and just do punishingly long days. And great fun when I was in my 20s through to my 30s. I did a really good ride, but completely fell out of love with the movie industry, and knew that my passion and vision was to contribute beyond just throwing myself around and having a bit of fun. But no, some hugely talented people that I've met along the way, from actors, directors, producers, to other stunt guys, wardrobe, makeup, costume, just the whole array. You throw these professionals in the mix and they've got to put the goods together in a short space of time. It's like, but you find it's a bit of a click. These people will move from movie to movie to movie, using the same teams, which is kind of sensible, really. If you think about it, if you're a producer, you want people that can produce the results. You've got this, you've got to get a return on the investment.
Yeah, of course.
So it's a bit, and I worked it out like early on. This is a money machine. This is a game. It's a business game. Yes, there's artistic processes involved, but it's a machine, and you've got to play your bit in the game. Otherwise, you won't get used really to play your part within there. And that goes for the top actors as well. They've got to do their bit. If they don't produce the results, then they let the team down too.
And of course, being on the finance side of things, I often see pitch decks for movies, and you realize it is an investment process as well. You're right, it's a business. I suppose they need, and they promise X return, and it makes sense to have a team that you can depend on, I guess, to deliver that. But I'd imagine that makes it very hard to get in the first place. What is that process like? Do you have an agency do you have to go to auditions, or like how does that look, or you just have to meet someone?
Good question. So there's an array of ways in. So yes, there's auditions, normally run by the stunt coordinator or the production company. If it's for a featured role or a commercial or a doubling role, you'd normally be cast for it. So they would see lots of different people for it. So there is a process. If you're playing a part or a character and you've got to deliver lines and dialogue, they want to audition you to see that you can deliver the goods. You have a resume in a book, which is electronic now, and they'd literally flick through and they're, I'm looking for these people. the stunt coordinator gets a breakdown, gets a script for the movie, and then they do a breakdown of all the different stunts involved, from the budget that they get given, to go, right, I've got these scenes I've got to deliver in, and I've got to put little teams together of stunt people, and I'm looking for people to double, I'm looking for people to play characters. And from that process, they'll work probably with a casting director to put the teams together. Once you're in as a stunt guy on a movie, you normally stay on it. So you sort of get a run of a few months on a movie, and so there's normally a core team, and then they'll bring specialists in to do certain stuff. I was often brought in to be hit by a car, fall downstairs, or do some kind of acrobatic trick off of a building or a height, because that was my niche. They'd be like, oh, Richard gets hit, well, it looks good getting hit by a car or falling downstairs. So you get known for the stunts that you're good at. You get known for being able to deliver when they call action, being reliable, turning up on time, good communicator, and a good team player, because you're sitting around with these guys for a long time on set, and nobody wants someone who's sort of draining the energy or is boring. So it's really who you get on with. The stunt coordinators get their work directly, normally from line producers. The line producer's like, right, I need a stunt coordinator for this movie, and they'll look at their resume. And the auditions, when you're more well known, you'll get a call directly from a stunt coordinator and just say, are you free tomorrow? Are you free next week? Are you free next month? It's a day of work, it's 2 days of work, it's a month, it's 3 months, because they're putting their core team together and they know they can rely on you. So that's generally how it would happen once you're established. But getting your foot through the door, you would literally be, I mean, I get stunt guys still contact me today to say, how do you get work? You know, how do you get busy? So it's giving them the marketing tips and tricks to be able to get through the door, to get those auditions, and to get to meet and get in front of stunt coordinators. I used to go on observation days. So I would phone up a stunt coordinator or their assistant and say, hey, can I come and help out? Can I come and make the tea,
that's a good idea.
hold the crash mat? And there is a structure of observation days where they'll bring new guys in and they'll say, hey, we're running an observation day. Do you want to come in, and we're setting someone on fire? And you get to see how it's done, right? As you do, you get to see how it's done. You get to see the safety, and they might have you as part of the safety team. So there's observation days. There's some training days that are kind of not official, but are run by stunt people that want to make a difference and want to make the industry safer. There's observation days were my biggie, but my big way to get continued work was follow up. It was like following up with a thank you card, a phone call to say thank you, or a text message now, something to say, you know, thank you, really appreciate you giving me your time to. And they were the coordinators that I would go on to work with, where I'd sent a follow up thank you, and I would genuinely am thankful for going in. But just marketing tricks to be able to get in, rather than just literally broadcasting your CV to everybody on an email, which people still do. I mean, they won't get work. So yeah, there's ways in. There's knowing a line producer, or knowing a director, or knowing somebody and coming in and being introduced. But it's people by people, right? It's the company or the film crew, cast and crew is a collection of people, in the same way that a business is a collection of people, and it's the people that make the magic happen. And people, if you get on well, you produce a good result. And if you do, you know, if you all know what you're doing and you're professionals, you'll produce a good result. So yeah, it's quite a good business lesson in the stunt game. It's like,
it sounds like
you've got your eyes open.
Yeah, it's people skills, I guess. That or everything you said translates into everything that we do. You know, actually, if you applied those principles to anything, you'll probably get a better result. You know, so
completely
very interesting. That's it's just so different from my own or anyone I know's background, especially at that age as well. You know, I think back at 19, what was I doing? I think probably on a bench in a park somewhere. You know, it's like being that organized with your time, you know, to do all those things is very impressive. So you must have just been extremely driven always. You know, is that how you are as a person?
I am as a person. I think my organization skills have come from my mum, who's an organized person. She bought me my first Franklin planner when I was at college and taught me how to plan my day and my to-do list and how to use a diary. And I think, it's a basic skill that school doesn't, I don't know if it teaches it now, I shouldn't think so, but it's like a basic skill that a parent's passed on to a son. And I keep a really detailed diary now to this day, and a to-do list, and I use the same fundamentals that my mum taught me. Yeah, there's tools and apps for it now, but it's exactly the same principle, and I still like pen and paper. Gymnastics 100% got me disciplined and focused. It taught me how to set goals. It taught me how to break the goal down and how to learn from the failures towards the goal as well. So it helped me reach goals, and that ultimately is what my companies do now. Is we teach kids to goal set. It gave me the confidence in my physical and mental ability to be able to get out there and do stunts, because it's a mentally challenging game. Gymnastics is at national level, at regional, national, and then international level. I mean, must be but it is a bigger pressure cooker as well. You're taught how to deal with stress and pressure, and to be able to compartmentalize it and actually focus on the task in hand. And gymnastics has given me that. It's given me the life skills that school failed in. My parents gave me the support and encouragement to pursue and to stick at something, to find something I love doing. And that, that to me is what's got me to where I am today, and what allowed me to be focused and driven to become a stuntman. It was like, well, I'm not going to give up. It was hard to get onto the stunt register. It's a hard task with a sporting background, and it was why there aren't many stunt guys that are registered performers, because it's a hard thing to get into. And then it's even harder to get work. So you have to learn all these skills, quite fast if you want to make some cash and survive. So yeah, definitely gymnastics is what gave me those life skills to be able to do to get into the stunt game. 100%.
So, coming on to your business then, which is Flair Gymnastics, and it's obviously a gymnastics school, correct? And so you started that when you were 21. That was your first.
Yeah. I was 1998. I was I had my coaching qualifications. I was living at home, and I needed to continue with pursue my stunt stuff, but I also needed an income stream that would help support that. So I started Flair Gymnastics out of a necessity, and also out of wanting to continue to coach and contribute. I wanted to pass on what I'd learned from gymnastics and the journey that I'd had, and ultimately wanted kids to feel that feeling that I got in the gym of, wow, I can do this. Really, confidence is what it's still our message today. We build confident kids through gymnastics. So 1998, I approached my old primary school and said, hey, can I hire your hall? I had zero finance for this. It was like starting it from nothing. I literally had no computer, borrowed next door's printer. My next door neighbor, she knocked me up a poster that we put up at the school. We did some flyers that I literally went door to door around the whole area with a little tear off slip saying, send your £3 or whatever it was back then in this envelope. And I literally got about 20 envelopes back with cash. Nobody knew who I was. I just said, I'm a qualified gymnastics coach. I used to go to this school. I'm going to be in on Saturday coaching a gymnastics class. Do you bring your kids along? So we started with like 20 kids. My mum was one of my first coaches back in 98. So we did it together. And then, but she said at the very beginning, she said, I'm not going to carry on coaching. I'll give you one term of classes, and then you've got to find other coaches. So that forced me to start building a team. So we went from sort of 20 kids to 100 really quickly. And I was coaching. And literally they just bring a bag of money and put it in the bucket, and I'll be like, oh, this is good. So I could pay some rent, I could pay some bills, and I could also get out there auditioning and hustling for work. So I was still doing shows at the time for work too. I was doing pantomime season, stunt shows, working at the Royal Opera House, as an acrobat, and with Placido Domingo in Covent Garden doing operas, all, like, you name it. I'm out there just hustling with work, doing TV commercials, photo shoots, circus jobs, juggling, anything I could do that would help me keep building the skill set, the resume, and get me in front of people. Whilst then on like a Saturday, I was running my little gymnastics club, coaching kids, which soon went from 1 day to 2 days to 3 days as we grew. And then I get offered my first sort of batch of filming, and I'm like, I'm away for 3 months working on a movie. So I had to then delegate, put some systems in place, and start building a small team. So I was continually running the gymnastics academy, and we started a school branch. We started going into schools, and we put Olympians into schools. They did assemblies and presentations. There's like another arm growing off it. And it organically grew. We went from 1 site to 2 sites to 3 sites. And now we're at 5 venues in the UK. And we just launched in Dubai. We've got our eyes on, we were going to be launching in China. So we've got our eyes on China, and I'm out to the US shortly, to the Florida, to Orlando, Tampa area, looking at a project over there. So yeah, it started back in '98 with just me and my mum in the gym coaching these kids, and they loved it, and they came back. So it was, you know.
Did she stick to the 1-term promise and then?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It's like, yeah. She was actually, she had a full-time job, and you know, she's working, and she had her life. And you know, my brother moved out when he was sort of 16, 17. I moved out a few years after that, once I started getting stunt jobs under my belt. But yeah, she had her life to live, you know. It's like, which I really salute her for. It's I think more parents need to get more brutal with their kids and kick them out of home a lot earlier. It's like their job's done by the time the kids are sort of late teenager. Job done, mum and dad. Like, move on over. They need to learn and contribute to society. So yeah, she did me a lot of favors with the way she parented, probably without knowing it, like quite just instinctively, with just like the planner, the Franklin planner it sticks in my mind, because I just remember using it every day until I went digital. And it's just such a good system that she taught me, such a good life skill, but also teaching me how to stick at doing something. So the support that they gave me and my brother to stick at something, to stay at doing a sport, whereas I witness so many families now just hopping from club to club to club to club, and the kids never get good at anything, and they're confused, and they're just overstimulated with all these clubs. And it's like, I think that the parents need to focus to help their kids focus and say, right, let's understand what the kids are actually good at and what they're naturally like doing and they enjoy. Let's help them focus on that and get good at that thing. Otherwise, it just causes chaos.
Yeah, no.
Actually, I see patterns. I've seen patterns over the years. I think we've been going 23 years now, and you just see patterns, and it does repeat.
Yeah, no, I can completely relate to that as well. I think you know, it's that sort of growth and fixed mindset thing, isn't it? That and I was probably guilty of this at a young age. Of, if I wasn't naturally immediately good at something, then I would go and do something else. And then when you realize that you're not actually naturally good at anything, then you end up doing nothing. that's the problem with that sort of mindset. So obviously now looking back, you know, I can see where that came from. And I watched your TED talk about schools teaching people not to think, basically. And I think that resonates quite strongly with myself. And it's very true. And actually, when I was watching that, I thought of a question around that. Do you, especially nowadays where we are, where we seem to be in quite an interesting place, both politically and with many things going on, many things which I personally think require a lot of thinking about. And do you think that has progressed in society? Do you think that we're heading more towards an environment where children and adults, I guess, as well, are thinking more or being taught to think more critically? Or do you think we've actually regressed or that problem hasn't even been addressed yet?
I don't think it's been addressed. I think it's trying to be addressed by business owners. Business owners are taking on the responsibility to address it, because we're now employing kids that have come through a really broken system called school, which is great if you're an average student, but anyone who's below average academically, I mean, if you're below average academically or above academia average, you're failed. You are failed by this broken system, which is just teaches children to go from school to pass exams, to go to another school, to pass exams, to go to another school. It's a Victorian system to train people to sit in factories and build stuff, and now to sit in cubicles on workstations, and now to sit at home on a workstation on a Zoom meeting like a robot. And it's broken. It's a complete suppression of creativity. And this is the private schools and the national schools, and having seen schools across the US, same problem. So are we teaching children to think critically yet? No. We need to break the cycle. So we need to teach the teachers how to think critically first, in my opinion. And the parenting, that will break the cycle and help the new parents learn how to think independently. It's through sport is a great vessel to think critically, to help kids to understand problem solving, to be able to set goals, to learn these life skills and this inner confidence, which sport is a huge teacher of, because of how it teaches you to win and fail. But I think we are overstimulating kids with so many choices, and then we get choice paralysis, where they just don't know what to focus on because they're given all these choices, because parents want to give their children everything. These children get very confused. We're given instant gratification, particularly through social media, without any understanding of delayed gratification, which is just amplified through hits of dopamine when somebody likes a photo on social media. And that's very dangerous, because we get dopamine overload. So we're overstimulating kids, giving them so much choice that the fundamentals are being completely, missed, which means we're not teaching kids to think independently. They're literally just following a trend of what's washing through. But we need to help the teachers. But I think we need to break the cycle. The cycle needs to be broken to help teachers to think independently and critically. And don't get me wrong, so many amazing teachers that are just trapped in this. They've come into teaching because they want to make a difference, and then they're just told to teach a syllabus, a curriculum that is just fallen off the arc. And it's they're being forced to teach these things, and it's but then it's their job to then break the system and get out and recognize it. But lots are trapped in it. So just that answers your question in a roundabout way. But I think business owners are taking on the responsibility, as we quite rightfully should, because we are employing the generation that's coming through, where we need critical thinking. It's like we need that to progress the planet. It's hugely important. We need independent thinkers that can think outside of the box, can critically think. We need confident people that are confident in themselves and their abilities. So we need more sports clubs, in my opinion. More organisations that are doing more stuff on character building and mindset with the children, because the physicality of a sports club is merely a byproduct, in my opinion, at recreational level. It's only when you get to the elite international high performance side of it where it becomes more about the performance and this one thing. But the life skills that we're teaching through sport, such as failure and winning and goal setting, are the bits that are so important to building that kid's character and building their ultimately building their confidence.
Oh, absolutely. And when kids come to your school, do you have obviously they do gymnastics, but how do you build in this ethos as into that syllabus sort of thing that you put together? Do you have sessions with them where you explain, what is there like a process around that?
Yes, good question. And yes, we do. Every kid gets a student training diary,
Okay.
and we literally teach the children how to set a goal and how to connect that
That's
with
awesome.
a pen onto a bit of paper. So we have a goal setting session with the kids.
Sure.
What do you want to learn this term? We have an award syllabus that progresses the kids from a level 1 all the way through to a level 15, where they progress through these building blocks. They start to learn how to build the map to produce the result, the goal that they want to set. And then most importantly, which is missed out in goal setting by adults running companies, is the reflection on, did I reach that goal or didn't I? So at the end of each term, we have a reflections class where the children reflect back on what did they learn, how did they feel about the classes, how do they feel about not reaching their goal, how do they feel about reaching a goal, helping them observe a feeling to recognize that's a normal process, so that we can help them connect with that, helping them reflect on how could I do it better next time, to help them critically think. If I reached the goal, what did I do that helped me reach that goal, that got me there? What did I do really well? What didn't I do so well that I could improve on? Celebrating every win, and recognizing it's important to celebrate the wins, and it's okay to fail, because failure is just feedback. And that's a biggie. It's like helping kids to process that emotion and go, it doesn't feel good. Having the tears and the tantrum and going, okay, that happens. And we get the tears and the tantrum from the parent. Why didn't my child pass that level? Well, your child wasn't at the current required standard to pass that level. Go and process it, Mr. Mum and Mr. Dad. It's like, it's really important that we help educate the whole family. But we're working in partnerships with families. We want to be that part that can help develop their life skills and their confidence, because the feedback from this goal setting and achieving a goal is confidence in your ability to be able to get there. But then when we teach about the failure and processing, what does failure mean, we're really helping them to just smash through in life, because when you can understand failure is okay, you're less scared to fail because you know that it's just feedback. So you're taking the fear, or a lot of the fear, out of the equation, and helping them to really recognize it. It's all right if they fall over, if they don't land that skill, if they don't get it quite right, if it doesn't get checked off in their diary. But we map, track, measure, reward, and celebrate in our process at the academy, and we communicate really well to the parents to help them be part of that journey. One of the big things that we're about at Flair Gymnastics Academy is to serve the kids club market in a way better level and standard with the communication than they've been served in the past. In the UK particularly, I've seen it out here as well in Dubai. It's the parents and kids club market is deeply underserved, and we really need to lift the gains and the standards with that, so that we can show systems and processes that work. We can give really good levels of customer service. So we also teach that as part of the program. So we have service standards that we teach our staff, and the staff teach the children about the service standards so they can lift their game and implement it into their own lives. We also teach it to the parents. In our parents, we don't call them rules, we call it the Flair necessities for parents. And we teach them the Flair necessities of how to be a great and supportive gymnastics academy parent. So we put those messages forward throughout our marketing, throughout our program, throughout our messaging, throughout our podcasts like this. And we talk about the Flair necessities, and they start with safety, and then they go to courtesy, performance, and efficiency. And it's our business service standards that we're literally echoing across the company through the syllabus and program, and all the way through to the parents. So that's how we implement some of it. That's some of our magic.
I like that a lot, actually. That's great. I think as a parent, you're getting value. You're not just dumping your kids somewhere, they're going to do something, and you're actually helping them develop as a parent as well. And that's, I think there's probably a huge amount of parents out there who need that and don't realize they need it. So that's very cool. How so Dubai's your first international branch? Great. Okay. Why Dubai for starters? That's
great question. So we had this crazy year last year. I don't know if you remember it or if
I've tried to forget,
it.
but yeah.
So we, as have many companies and organizations in the UK, we got closed down. So we had 5 academies running, partnerships with schools across the UK, and our schools particularly were a very big income stream to us. And we literally got closed, turned off overnight, as did many businesses. As a business owner, pivot online. Most sports academies went online. We literally had a platform online anyway, and we turned it on and pushed hard with this online platform overnight. And we offered it up as a support for other gymnastics and sports clubs for free for all their members. So we built this online platform called the Gym Classroom, and we gave it as a free resource. We pumped daily videos into it, daily lives. Before everyone was doing lives, we were doing lives, recorded content, mindset training, talks, linking to podcasts, having just a massive platform called the Gym Classroom. And we offered it for free, and we're now in 20 different countries and have tens of thousands of users because of that. So we put this platform together, pivoted, and then I'd already been in discussions about building an academy in China, in Beijing, with some school partnership programs that were operating over there. So I'd ring-fenced this cash and budget for this project, and I really didn't want to put that into bailing us out as a company. So we pushed hard with the Gym Classroom platform, and we kept over communicating with our customers, opening up when we were allowed to, and then being closed down again, playing the game with that in the UK. And we're still limping in the UK, as many businesses are. We're limping out of this, with less members than we had before, with the schools just about letting us back into the schools. So we're out of the woods in terms of the business is solid, but the country and the nation, as you know, we've got the furlough system coming to an end. Employers can't bring staff back into their businesses. We're going to see a lot of aftermath pain with this. We can print as much money as we want as nations, quantitative easing, but it ultimately doesn't, it doesn't solve the problem. So we're going to see some corrections. I think we're all ready for that. And it's going to be the businesses that have got that war chest of cash, good systems, good people, good processes that are going to survive and push through out after. So we were looking at China. Can't get into China still at the moment. So beginning of this year in January, I was like, right, let's go and explore some opportunities. Who's open for business? And the UAE was like, we're open for business. You can operate here. We did the lockdown during the first wave, as everyone did, but then we went, no, let's encourage businesses to trade. And I was like, well, that's a sensible idea. That's how not to crash an economy. So I flew out here and started networking and chatting to people. I had a few contacts out here through other contacts in the UK that I met with. I met with a fantastic parkour company called Parkour DXB, who gave me some great insights. And I started looking at warehouses and facilities and started going, right, where can I invest? And I was looking to invest in property, but also get an academy running out here. It's like, right, how can we do this in the most efficient way? Parkour DXB were in Al Quoz in Dubai. That was their venue. And they approached me, I think it was only in February, maybe it may have been March, and said, hey, our landlord is looking at acquiring this facility down in Port Rashid. Do you want to come and have a look at it with us? And I said, well, before I do that, have you done a demographic study? Have you, has it got footfall? Where is it? I don't know Dubai at all at this stage. So me and my team, we're like, right, let's do a demographic study. Where are all the schools? What's the the roads and because I didn't know the area at all. So that was a really good learn. Did the whole learning about the areas, and it worked out. It's pretty good area to be starting up in. So got invited in on the deal, and it's a huge facility down in Port Rashid where we've got over 10,000 square feet for our academy. So it's a big academy where we've got floor vaults, beams, bars, tumble, trampolines, oodles and oodles of soft mats and tumble mats and blocks. It's huge. Parkour DXB moved in and put their second site up, and they launched straight away because they had the infrastructure. And my journey began. It was like, right, how do I open up a business in Dubai? I know nothing about the licensing, and you know, there's, as you know, there's an investment to start up out here. You've got to get a business license, create that. I got my fingers burned by some bad advice. I met some good people. I met some bad people. It's the same around the world. I learned how chaotic it can be to work with certain suppliers out here, and systems and processes, you know, aren't as smooth as they could be in Europe. I learned very quickly, right? And it feels like one colleague put it to me, said it's a bit like the Wild West. You know, it's like, right, you gotta learn quick. I went and got some legal advice and started learning about law out here, business law, talking to more business owners, doing some visits to gymnastics schools, seeing what syllabuses are running, looking at our pricing strategy. And I started building a list. So straight away in January anyway, we bought a domain name, DubaiGymnastics.com, and we started building a list. So, you know, we've got over 7,000 people on that list now, and that's been like 6-7 months. So it's grown. We started our Instagram, which is a big thing out here, Instagram, social media marketing. And we started putting our messaging out here to talk about ultimately building confident kids, goal setting, character building, life skills that we can help children with to become fulfilled through using gymnastics as the vessel. So yeah, that started learning, started looking at who we could employ, who we could bring out here. And I saw one of our big USPs is that we're a British team, we're a British company. The Indian expat community love that we've got a British syllabus, and we're in a big middle-class Indian area here of expats that come and use our facilities. So, and we are really good, like in terms of our syllabus. Happen to be British. It's a really good British syllabus, and a good structure. So British trained and qualified coaches. We run a lot of our own coaching development and qualifications as well, but we've also got coaches that have come across that have got national coaching qualifications. We've got former international gymnasts that are working with us here, super high caliber coaches that love what we're about, which is building confident kids through the sport. We're not high pressure. We teach goal setting, and we're not trying to produce the next Olympian, but if there's children with the talent that can go in that direction, we will make sure they're channeled. But we're all about inclusive, bringing children in to connect with a sport that they're going to love because it's great fun, and to learn all of the soft skills that they get along the way. So yeah, that's my journey out here. So I've been out here since January. I've been back to the UK once when we bought a shipping container load of equipment across. We've had 4 containers of equipment come in, so we had to do all the logistics to get, you know, it's a 10,000 square foot facility, fully kitted out, you know, hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of amazing setup. It's phenomenal. It's really cool. And then putting the infrastructure in for the staff and the training and the systems, the booking systems for the UAE with the credit card processing, our back end CRM and online booking, all of our marketing, finding printers and designers out here and people that can bring our brand to life, working with the landlord to get everything we needed together, and local partners and sponsors. And we've got some local ambassadors that have come on board, parent ambassadors that come on board with our brand, that are putting the message out there on social. So yeah, big marketing push, and we're still pushing that now because we launched in, when did we launch? What are we in now? We're in August. We launched in August. It was about a month later than I'd have liked. It was like, right, we're going to launch in July, but we couldn't get our permissions through. with our business licensing and visa quotas. As you know, you have to get visas for everybody that wants to work.
And
that
nothing
was new to me.
quickly either.
Nothing happens quickly. And then there was religious festivals and holidays and close downs and banks closing. And I was like, okay, this is great fun, but all a big learn. I mean, I had great fun with it all. It was like, I've had some not so much fun with it as well, but more fun than bad. We're now in a big push phase with the schools going back with booking our trials in, but we've got a huge list, a great engagement, and we ran summer camps were sold out when we opened them in August from our marketing. So we had fully sold out summer camps in August, wanted to launch in July, didn't happen. So we went from March, April, May, June, July, like 5 months ish, or 4 to 5 months from push the button to open, which I'd have liked to have done it faster, but
it sounds
still pretty quick
to me. Especially quick. If you've got to fit out 10,000 square foot warehouse with fairly niche equipment. That's a pretty fast result, I'd say.
The shipping was it's like, is this going to arrive in time, and is this coming in, and who's going to clear the goods? And
I mean, shipping was a nightmare for everyone because there were shipping issues globally, and there still are. There's still quite a lot of things that you can't get into this place, for whatever reason, depending on where it's coming from and all sorts. So that was probably not. I wouldn't say that was necessarily a Dubai specific problem. I think that's sort of been going on everywhere, hasn't it? A little bit.
Worldwide. We were paying at least 5 times more for shipping than we would be in normal times. Our shipping costs were huge. In one case, we bought some mats in from the US, and the shipping cost 3 times more than the mats.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. We were like, and we sort of pushed the button on stuff and we couldn't undo it. It was like, we wouldn't have got, we don't want these mats. Trying to get gymnastics niche equipment locally, just haven't been able to do it. Even things like getting a Chromebook out here, was trying to find computer stuff would seem a bit of a nightmare at the beginning. I mean, we've got suppliers now for things, but bringing the equipment in was quite painful. But, we're set up. We've got a huge flow of trial bookings coming in now. We've joined up our first batch of members. We're open, so we've got the capacity for 2,500 members in 10,000 square feet. We've got hundreds that have signed up already. So we're not full yet, and we're not. I mean, we're still. There's a lot to do. What's going to probably slow us down is in bringing staff in quick enough, and getting up to speed. So our recruitment process is pretty slick. We press a button on our digital advertising, and we get a lot of applications come in. We get video applications come in, and then we actually observe them coaching in at the club or gym that they're in before we even sort of consider them. But that's probably what would slow us down, is recruitment.
I was going to ask about that. That's always something that I'm interested in for fairly unusual businesses. When you're in finance or any other industry I've been in, recruitment is a fairly straightforward process. You announce you have a job, you get thousands of CVs, narrow them down, you do some interviews. But when you have to find people with quite a niche set of skills, and then you have to. Are you planning to relocate them? What's your sort of geographic spread?
Good question, because I think it's the hardest thing in any business is people. And I'm a firm believer in having really solid systems where the person drives the result of the system versus trying to manage a person, because you can't really manage a bag of emotion, which is what a human being is. And we train our team to manage the result of the system rather than the emotion. We relocate. So we bring people in to fully serviced apartments. We pay for all of that, and they come into fully serviced apartments with everything from a swimming pool through to room service. It's like lovely.
So they get
paid. They're spoiled, and they get paid handsomely. But we only bring the best in. We really only do bring the best in. So we reject a lot of applications. We insist on a video application, so they have to come in through video. But we also run the Flair University, which is our blended on and offline training where we can qualify a coach from zero to qualification through our own training and processes. And I think that's a really important part of any business model, is to have your training systems and processes running to make sure your team deliver things how your brand needs it delivered. Yes, we'll ask for a national qualification from people that will fly out here, but equally we've trained up our UK team on our own qualifications. So we're currently looking to establish a training and qualification company in Dubai, in the UAE. So it's part of our strategy so that we can be the accreditor of these qualifications for coaching professionals in gymnastics specifically out here. So we train them from anything from health, safety, child protection, welfare, through to how to coach a warm-up, a stretch, a gymnastics skill throughout our syllabus. So it's not just the technical skills, it's also the backing of the safety and the welfare of the children. Which
that's
is
a great
important.
idea, by the way. I think that's genius, because then you get also the brand association between being, you know, basically the voice of knowledge and everything on that subject, and that transfers. That's very clever.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's important because we are the experts in what we deliver, and we've got we've got a great team, and we've got huge experience in delivering coaching education. We do it in the UK. We want to do it here, but through a company, so it's completely officially stamped, and people can go, yep. That helps us out a lot when you're saying you're relocating people. That would help us a lot, because at the moment you have to get the coaching qualification attested to be recognized here. That's a process in itself, which can slow things down. So it's looking, and I think it's the same in any business, it's looking for where are the things that you can shortcut by, and there's a bag of work to do with that, but it's going to ultimately allow us to recruit faster, to train faster, to have the right people in place to the right level and our standards, which is really important. So even if somebody came in on a national qualification and we attested the certificate, they're still not going to be completely trained to our standards. So we still got to train them. So why not do it and qualify them at the same time? So that's part of how we recruit. Yes, we pay for the accommodation and transportation costs and all of those bits, and we aim to attract a fully British team. That's not to say we're not open to other nationalities. It's just like our niche is British. You know, we're bringing that into Dubai, British standards and British syllabus.
And that's a funny one. I think, as much as obviously I've not been in the UK for a while, but it certainly almost seems like a lot of people, you know, they don't appreciate that Britain as a brand. Well, Britain is a brand, you know, they don't appreciate that that's just the reality of it. When you live abroad, you go, whatever country you're in, you know, you see Union Jacks and stuff, it's a brand, same as any country, and it has a lot of weight. And people there might get upset about why that is the case, but it's irrelevant. You know, it is the case. And you see it here, British school, this British, and it's not us driving it. People want that. So I think that, you know, it's a good strategy. Not just here, but in any foreign market as well, right? That's it luckily has a good weight behind it as a brand. So that
you
makes
only
sense.
Learn it. It does make sense, and as you said, you only learn it if you've been out here or you've traveled. And I think travel's so vital to build to build cultural empathy, and it's so important that you know, kids should travel really young, you know, to build some cultural empathy, to understand that we're very lucky having a British passport. We're hugely fortunate with the birth lottery. You know, where are you born? As to what passport do you get? We're hugely fortunate with where we can travel to. Whereas, as you know, lots of the nationalities out here can't get into the UK without a substantial investment to get their visa pushed through. We're allowed to travel to so many places. It's, you've got to invest out here if you want to set up a company. There's an investment because there's no corporation tax, right? So how else are the government gonna claw in revenue? And it's through business licensing and the visa process, and completely get that.
Fines.
I've heard about the speeding fines. Luckily my scooter only goes 30 kilometers an hour, so I'm
you're safe.
But I you know, it's important, but recognizing that we're a brand. And I think as a kid, whenever you got a toy in the UK, it always said made in China on there. And I'd always wonder why did it say made in China? But absolutely recognize now as a business owner, they're building their brand. It's like made in China and everything. And yeah, we put British on what we're doing. It carries a lot of weight. But you only recognize it when you can look back at at the country, or you've been out of the country for a while. I absolutely love travel. I love what it teaches me. I love that it builds cultural empathy. You know, you really do start to see it from other people's point of view in a much bigger place when you spend, you know, over a month in a country. You start to learn bits about it, rather than just have a sort of 2-week holiday somewhere. And I see myself as really not having an address at the moment. It's like I'm over to the US soon. I want to get over to China to set stuff up. I don't really see these borders. I'm fortunate as a business owner, you can set up a company, well, anyone can ultimately set up a company in any country, and it does allow you in, because you're putting an investment into the country. But I also completely recognize that that's not easy for a lot of nationalities to do, because it's a huge outlay of resources and cost, and know-how. But yeah, that's my goal, is to travel more and get more academies set up across more places to spread the word.
So obviously you said America, China. Have you got a timeline on that at all, or is it still pipe? Well,
China was supposed to be now, but we got this curveball got thrown in the way. So China was supposed to be now. I'm out to the US in 3 weeks' time to start some negotiations there. Depending on how well that goes, I'd like to think that we could sign something by the end of this year to put something in place over in the US. I still got some projects in the UK that we want to get more academies up in the UK. We've got a big project in the Guildford area at the moment in Surrey that we're putting a facility up, a big structure. So we're in talks with schools and land and universities and people in the UK regarding putting this facility up. So I'm spinning that one around. So yeah, we'd like to get another academy up early next year, whether it be in the US or the UK, depending on which one we can, you know, get going. Get going the fastest.
Do you have to be physically present in those places for that?
I think at the moment, well, I still see, even though I've been in business for like 23 years, I still see us. I only left the stunt game 6 years ago and really invested in myself as a business person. Probably 8 or 9 years ago, started learning business. 6 years ago, started taking it really seriously. So I still see us as a relatively young company in terms of what we're doing with these academies. So initially, I think yes, it's really useful to be on the ground, to be there, helping with the project. I don't want to project manage the next one based on experiences of this, but I want to bring my experience from this into the next one, and to work with the PM so that we get, you know, all the learns from this into the next one abroad. I enjoy learning about the country's, you know, rules, laws, and business structure. I think it's, you know, really fun to keep learning, and it's also a really good test of our systems and processes. You know, if we can run it in the UK, can we run it here? And we can. We've proven it. We're open, and we got. Then the tills are ringing. So we're doing something right, but do I have to be physically present? Eventually, no. But I'll probably want to be, but I'll probably just get in the way. Be like, get out of the way. But I really enjoy it. I like seeing I love the strategy side. I love the strategy, and I love seeing things, but I love seeing it when it's finished. But ultimately, I don't think things will ever be finished in what we're doing, because we're constantly grow and evolve the academy. There'll always be some new equipment, new setups, progressions on things. So it's an evolving beast.
Cool. Well, I have to say that was very, very interesting. It's an unusual background, and certainly I think your business is quite interesting as well. You know, it's quite different to anything that I'm usually exposed to. You know, I know a lot of people with online businesses only, or financial companies, whatever it is. So that's quite an interesting. Thanks for sharing all of that. Appreciate it. And
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and best of luck. I really hope that goes well. If I'm I don't know what age you cater to, but I've always fancied myself having a go on a trampoline with one of those, you know, foam pits or whatever, whatever it is.
You are welcome in at any time. We actually
Yeah.
do have an adult section that we're
Oh,
launching.
awesome.
We've got a preschool from January. We're starting the kids from 2, so a preschool 2 to 3. At the moment, we start the kids from 4 all the way through to teenage, and then we've got an adult program from 18 to 80,
Oh, wow.
or older. If
Yeah.
someone's older and they want to come in, they can come and learn from us. We've got, you know, fantastic facility, fantastic coaches, great structure. And building a great community in Port Rashid with Flair Gymnastics Academy.
And has it got air conditioning? That's the only
The
thing.
The AC is amazing in there. It's super cool. We've also got a brand new coffee brand called Kona House Coffee that's being built as we speak, that will be launched in a couple of weeks' time. We've got the parkour guys as our neighbours. We've also got 3 paddle tennis courts inside the academy.
That's
and
very trendy at the moment.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
Paddle tennis courts, and we have a soccer, a 5-a-side, 2 5-a-side soccer pitches at the back.
Oh.
So it's a huge centre. The landlords are talking about putting a 50-metre swimming pool out the back.
Wow.
Next door, we've got 4 more paddle tennis courts, and then there's a roller disco company. The next warehouse along. It's become a big. Port Rashid has become a really lively place.
That's cool.
With all of this footfall. So yeah, come along and see us.
Definitely will. And anyone watching who, you know, wants to find you, where can they go for socials, website? I don't know if you want to plug anything. But...
Yeah, sure thing. So if you go to flairdubai.com is our gymnastics website, and then we're flair.dubai on Instagram. Instagram's the big one. My Instagram, I'm sure you'll post it in the show notes on here, but my Instagram is Richard_Dwyer_UK, and I hang out on Instagram. I post all my travels and connect with people on Instagram. But flairdubai.com is a good place to find us. If you've got kids that want to come and get involved, come and become part of the community and come and say hi.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.